Camilla Hawthorne, Black Mediterranean Geographies, Translation and the Mattering of Black Life in Italy. As an analytic, the Black Mediterranean draws on the works of Thompson and Gilroy to ask how we can think of the Mediterranean as another oceanic route through which Black subjectivities are forged, lived, and contested. What does it mean to decenter the Atlantic as singularly generative of the Black diaspora? The Black Mediterranean, as I understand it, provides us with a way to attend to the historical and geographical specificities of multifarious forms of Black life, to think about alternative genealogies and technologies of racisms and resistance, and work out alternative political horizons beyond the nation-state. It is important to remember that in Black Marxism, Cedric Robinson actually begins his global history of racial capitalism squarely in the Mediterranean basin. From the influential trade and financial centers of the Italian peninsula's maritime republics, to the systems of plantation cultivation and slave labor in the islands of the Mediterranean Sea. Indeed, as Robin D. G. Kelly wrote in his foreword to the 2000 edition of Black Marxism, Robinson developed a conception of the Black Mediterranean as a precondition to the Black Atlantic and the making of Europe itself. Contemporary literature on the Black Mediterranean now intervenes by building upon Robinson to show that the Black Mediterranean is no longer simply a defunct precondition that has been supplanted by North Atlantic regimes of racial capitalism, but is in fact an ongoing, living site of the reproduction of racisms, Black subjectivities, and resistance. And foregrounding these multiple historic and ongoing connections between sub-Saharan Africa and Italy via the Mediterranean has the potential to reorient our understanding of European modernity itself. As Kelly writes, the exercising of the Black Mediterranean is about the fabrication of Europe as a discrete, racially pure entity solely responsible for modernity on the one hand, and the fabrication of the Negro on the other. The work of historians of Black Europe, such as Olivet Otele, has demonstrated that reinserting Blackness and Black life into the story of Euro-Mediterranean modernity is not reducible to a mere liberal politics of representation. Rather, following Kelly, it also undermines the dangerous historical assumptions that undergird European racial nationalisms. A critical and geographically relational rereading of the Mediterranean matters, precisely because the Mediterranean has been primarily framed in Eurocentric philosophy and historiography as the cradle of a presumably white, Christian, and Western European civilization. The research collective of which I am a member, the Black Mediterranean Collective, came into being after the 2015-2016 migrant crisis in the Mediterranean. As an interdisciplinary group of scholars studying racism, colonialism, Blackness, and the politics of migration and citizenship in Italy, we noticed that most academic and journalistic commentary on the migrant crisis addressed the multiple violence of European border regimes as violations of an abstract, shared, universal humanism. These same reports hardly ever remarked upon the fact that the majority of the people arriving to Italy via the central Mediterranean route were Black migrants from sub-Saharan Africa, and in many cases with direct post-colonial ties to Italy. Or if they did, this was noted in passing, rather than as an essential part of the story. Of the largely US-based commentary that did focus on the blackness of the refugees and asylum seekers, there was often an unsettling tendency to uncritically impose the geographies of the Middle Passage upon what was happening in the Mediterranean. Dissatisfied with both approaches, we began to ask how an analysis of the refugee crisis might shift if we started our stories from the Mediterranean as an historical and ongoing site for the reproduction of racial capitalism and Black diasporic subjectivities.